Every movement on the global chessboard is a calculated play driven by economic, political, and military interests. If you believe otherwise, you are not watching the game, you are watching the propaganda. Recently, we have witnessed a move that seems bizarre on the surface but is terrifyingly logical underneath. Vladimir Putin has begun to indirectly yet shamelessly support the rhetoric of Donald Trump regarding the annexation of Greenland. This isn't a gesture of friendship, it is a strategic trap. For Moscow, a crisis between the United States and Denmark over Greenland is a victory of historical proportions, perhaps their greatest in the last 25 years, and they are achieving it without spending a single ruble or firing a single bullet. The brilliance of this situation, from Putin's perspective, lies less in the physical control of the island and more in what it does to the rules of the game in the West. In geopolitics, victory is not always about conquering soil. It is about eroding trust, fracturing alliances, and normalizing dangerous precedents. By framing the annexation of Greenland as a matter of national security against Russian and Chinese threats, the American administration is using coercive language against its own European allies. This creates immediate friction within the transatlantic space, transforming an alliance that should be a community of defense into something that looks like a condominium where the strongest member dictates the price of security. Vladimir Putin has spent decades arguing that the West is hypocritical, that it breaks international law whenever it serves its interests while lecturing others on morality. Every time the central power of NATO pressures a sovereign ally like Denmark to cede territory, it validates Putin's narrative. This perception is gold for the Kremlin because it weakens the argument that NATO is a stable, predictable, and rule-based structure. It sows deep seeds of doubt about the reliability of Article 5, the famous mechanism of collective defense. If the main member of the alliance can threaten a partner over land and resources, how can the smaller members trust that they will be defended in a time of true crisis? This crisis arrives at a critical moment for the Arctic. Greenland is a notable central piece for emerging maritime routes, a treasure trove of rare earth minerals, and a vital geographical shield between North America and Europe. Any noise that fragments the Western strategy for the Arctic opens a massive void that Russia is more than ready to fill. Putin is watching with delight as the United States and the European Union spend their energy on emergency summits, trade disputes, and damage control, instead of coordinating a unified Arctic defense. There is a deeper, more cynical layer here. Putin is using the justifications for Greenland to reinforce his own justifications for the invasion of Ukraine. When Washington invokes strategic necessity and existential threats to justify extraordinary movements near its borders, Putin can simply point and say that when they do it, they call it strategy, but when he does it, they call it aggression. By adopting revisionist language, the United States gives the Kremlin the perfect propaganda tool to normalize the idea that great powers have the right to zones of influence regardless of international law. Even if the contexts are different, what matters for propaganda is the form of the argument. While observers split into sides defending Trump or Putin, the right or the left, the harsh reality remains that nuclear powers underestimate and disregard emerging countries. This is a wake-up call for nations like Brazil. If today you are an ally, but tomorrow your interests or your resources become a strategic necessity for a superpower, you will become a target. It does not matter if the American president is from the right or the left, or if they are conservative or not. Their primary loyalty is to their own power. In the end, the logic of victory for Putin comes from systemic erosion. Whether Greenland moves on the map or stays where it is, the damage to Western cohesion is real. For us, the lesson is clear. No one is coming to save us out of the goodness of their hearts.